The movie Coraline tried to warn us. Everybody thinks it's about a monster, but it's not.
I'll give you to the count of 3. 1, 2, 3!
The most terrifying thing about the movie Coraline is how close she was to saying yes. She wasn't running from danger. She was running from invisibility, from boredom, from being half heard, from living in a world that felt gray. You don't have to find a hidden door within your 4 walls. Simply, you need to grab your closest phone, and everything is curated to your preferences. In this video, we're going to be taking a look into the movie Coraline from an angle that you probably never heard of before, and seeing how the characters, the buttons, and many more things probably mean something totally different here in the year 2026. So without further ado, let's take a look into the world of Coraline.
Making up a song of
She's a doll,
So let's go over some necessary history when it comes down to the movie Coraline. It was actually stemmed from a book written by Neil Gaiman, but before the book was even published, the director of the movie Coraline had seen a few of the pages before it was released and fell absolutely in love. Shout out to Henry Selick for him actually being inspired to even create the film that we got today. With the history out of the way, let's go into some of the characters that you might have overlooked. When we look into the movie The Pink Palace, there is many neighbors in this gigantic house, and if you haven't noticed, all of them except for the family are performers. Miss Spink and Miss Forcible live surrounded by their past applause, costumes, photos, stage memories. And you also have Mr. Bobinski rehearsing endlessly for an audience that isn't there. Former applause, future applause, imagine applause. And I can't help but actually relate with them as I'm sitting here constructing this video, waiting for the applause, waiting for the like button, the subscribe, and realizing that performance can become an identity. You have all 3 of these neighbors that had such an explosive lifestyle in their past that they no longer want to move forward, rather that they surround themselves with a lot of things that remind them of a better time, and they perform and they don't listen to Coraline, not even getting her name right, rather that they are stuck in this time that they rather have been in, a time where all eyes were on them. Nevertheless, it's about performers within the building where people are just trying to make others see them as the spectacle. And as we scroll on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, YouTube itself, or many other forms of social media, it seems as though everybody is looking for your attention, not really listening to the people that support them, rather to gain the applause instead of what these platforms first sought out to do, bring social connection. Now it's about the likes, it's about the algorithm. But first we have to understand, how did this actually develop? And it's quite sneaky, like the other mother. As Coraline feels more isolated in the real world, she later discovers a better one that the other mother has constructed specifically for her. The other mother begins off with relief, giving Coraline everything that she ever needs: food, comfort, love, and attention. But manipulation begins with comfort, and the hyper-validation feels like love, but the intensity is not stability. Coraline begins to figure out that all of this validation that she's getting from everybody around her is just so the other mother can have this idealization for her to stay. The isolation becomes ever growing within Coraline, and lastly, the control is ever apparent. Today, all you need to do is open up your phone and get a curated feed in order for you to go into your own world, your own isolation, but yet for some reason you find it hard that you can't pull away and the control is grasping at you. The world that you see is no longer general. It has a specific algorithmic take upon your eyes. You scroll and scroll looking for your dopamine hit after short or TikTok after TikTok, not realizing how much time has flew by. You realize that this comfort is turning into isolation, and what this world used to be, open and explorative, you now have an algorithmic outlook to change and influence how you see the world around you. In the original works by Neil Gaiman, Coraline expresses a time where she had went for a hike with her father. They had went down into a rough area and unfortunately had ran into some hornets. The father told her to run before she even knew what happened, and she did so. Running up the hill, the father stayed and realized that he would have to take the brunt of the stings. While Coraline only got stung once, her father had gotten stung 30 times. They get back and he's treated, and he said, "Oh man, I left my glasses." And he realized that he had to go back before he forgot where he put it. Coraline said, "Why would you do that?" Coraline expressed that he was already brave for actually standing there and taking the stings for Coraline, but he said, "Coraline, that's not bravery. Bravery is going into the unknown, going in slow, realizing that things might not be the way that you like them to be, but you have to overall face your fear." A lot of us are looking for validations in the world that we have inside of our heads. Fear that maybe we are not correct, so we're fed things in order for us to stay in this nice little bubble that the other mother had made for us. It isn't until we expand our world to realize that not everybody has the same ideals, and that this comfort is not truly comfort, rather it is bondage that we have no idea tethered to an algorithm. But you have to realize that the other mother didn't just have her. She had many things that she used in order to have Coraline even consider staying, and let's get into those. In the movie, there are multiple things that are symbols in order for Coraline to cross over into the other world. You have the door, the first transition to get into this ethereal place. The tunnel, almost like an artificial rebirth. The garden, an ego validation to show how much it's appreciated that this individual is here. The theater, a spectacle distraction. Button eyes, a required step in order for you to fully embrace this altered reality. And then the key, the full agency to take away from Coraline the ability to go back. The hand that transitioned to her real world and having the lingering temptation to come back. And finally, Coraline needing the well to have closure, to end this world that she thought would be perfect, that paid full attention to her, but later realized that maybe life shouldn't be as perfect. Coraline finally removes access to the illusion. Some people have the idea of dropping all social media in a time like this, when we're always bombarded by ads and a curated feed that doesn't seem as though we all have the same idea. And that's totally fine. Everybody never had the idea, but we all had gotten the same news. But determining on what side and what you believe in religion, now everything keeps you in this tunnel vision, keeps you going into this world rather than living the one that you can currently live in the state that you live in. You don't just live your life being affected by the weather that you are affected by or by your local news. You now know national news in an instant. You know how the world is changing every second. But all of these symbolism items that taken place in the book or even in the movie can actually be compared to a lot of what we have today. For instance, the door being your phone, the tunnel being the World Wide Web, the garden, the social media validation that you also need, the theater, the TikToks, the shorts, the spectacle distractions, the button eyes being the perception that you receive throughout every curated feed, the key being you, and the hand lingering is your own physical hand leading you to your own destination of entertainment. And finally, Coraline's well, unfortunately, not a lot of us have discovered where that is. And there's a reason why we can't find our closure, or Coraline's well, and that's for a good reason. And this leads me to the most important part of this video.
Part of this world. She only made what she knew would impress you. She wants something to love, I think. Something that isn't her.
Something that the movie does completely different from the book is the inclusion of the doll. And the director of Coraline, Sullick, had actually explained the reason as to why the doll is even there. It is an agent to watch as Coraline goes about her life in order to curate the perfect other world for Coraline to come into. And as she witnesses and sees that Coraline is not happy, not properly fed, not properly loved, not attended to, she is able to curate everything that Coraline ever wanted, which becomes one of the biggest temptations Coraline has to face. And with the birth of AI, we can see that it integrates every single day with society, and it becomes the doll, absorbing everything about you and the world around you in order to curate everything that you want to hear to get you by on a bad day. But worse than that, you don't only just have people using these apps. You have big corporations such as Disney that possibly want to generate AI movies. AI this, AI that. AI is slowly sewing in the buttons to your eyes. And here are my final thoughts. When it comes down to Coraline, it wasn't written in a day, a month, a year. It took time, and it took two people to actually work on this book, the illustrator and the author. It wasn't until Coraline was made into the film that then sent this book into the stratosphere. The book is slow and methodical, stoic, but the movie actually elevates even the book to another level. If you were to see the behind the scenes and how they worked and how methodical every stop motion animation was, you would truly actually love the movie for what it is. If you're a Coraline fan, there's no doubt that you are absolutely enamored and cannot wait until another person covers a movie such as this in a new perspective like I have. The buttons are a symbol for today. Are you the one putting them on? Coraline tried to warn us. It's clear as day that the buttons aren't just a metaphor for the movie, but it's clearly something here in our reality. We chase after dopamine. We try to find a different world that kind of makes us comfortable. But that time that flies by keeps us away from wanting to be fully indulged into the world that is curated for us. You have Meta that's pushing the metaverse. You have every kind of conceivable thing being plastered onto your face to bring you into an alternate reality. You have Black Mirror, where they had an episode of two guys going into the fighting world, and well, that Black Mirror episode did get interesting, but nevertheless, it is all very true. Coraline was a clear as day warning, and the other mother as a full representation into AI before it was even full-fledged and put out there for the public to enjoy. I highly advise to read the book and also see behind the scenes of how they created this amazing movie. It was not an overnight thing. It wasn't a generated prompt. It took many, many dedicated people to make movies such as this, to show passion, to show love. It's something that we all fully need. But another film actually does the same thing that you probably missed on this channel. 9. It was based off of a short that a UCLA student had created, and I highly advise for you to go check that video out right now. Let me know down below what you think about the buttons. Do you think that I got it spot on? Do you think that AI is bad for society? I truly want to know how you feel, and I will catch all of you in the next video.